right. Oop. All right. Oh, that was close. Ooh, that was close. Oh, crap. Wrong button there. Give me a moment. My man. What do you do when you walk around? All right. We need to get the. Come on, camera. Don't be fucking stupid. There! That good nip. There we are. All right. Well, wrong buttoned. Get the start all over. Any way to go quicker? Wow, that was close. That would be the opposite of going quicker. Is it Google's birthday or something? I didn't even, I don't know when that is. I don't know why else they would have a birthday thing in this. Oh, yeah. Wait, my screen! Wait a sec, I need to kill this toolbar. Oh boy. Too low. Okay, almost there. There we go. Okay. Well, whatever, I got the toolbar out of the way now. No more excuses for dying like a fool. Actually, I'll give myself one more excuse. I'm gonna play on my phone. Nuts. Not that. There we go. Now let's go. This is for realsies. All other attempts before this one do not count. All right. Officially a 10th of the way there. Beautiful. Into the night comes the day. My screen just scrolled a little bit. Better not have. Oh, 30% of the way. Now it's getting serious. Oh, realized that at the last second. Book. Oops. Oh, daydreaming for a second. Brain just shut off. Oh no! Oh, we did it. Everyone can see dinosaurs are real. In the time when they ruled the world. Stepping into big dick territory. Running day and night, where do we end up? That was close. All right, halfway there. Da-na-na-na-na. Ah! Come on, man. What the shit? Come on. Goigle? Goigle. We need to have a talk, Goigle. Did I break 4,000 there? Or what happened? Fucking Google. That was it. You know, when something like that happens, you just gotta get right back on that horse. You know, unless your neck is broken, then, I mean, you gotta stay off of it. And hopefully it's not a serious fracture in your neck. Because, I mean, you can break your neck and not be paralyzed. So, you know, as long as that's not happening, you know, get back on the horse. It should be pretty easy to know if your neck is broken. You know, but maybe it wouldn't be. I've never broken my neck, so, you know, hopefully I don't. But, yeah. I mean, and if you're going to be around a horse, you probably want to give him like a carrot or something. Just to let him open up to you a little bit. So, you know, with a T-Rex, I mean, it depends what version of history you subscribe to. But if you believe in one certain history where humans and dinosaurs lived together, then you would give the T-Rex a coconut. Because according to that history, the T-Rex had the big teeth so he could crack open the coconut. I mean, look it up on Google if you don't believe me. Sure, you could find something maybe under T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'm not sure. Either one of those. And then coconut. I would actually be disappointed if nothing came up. Yeah. That is how some groups justify dinosaurs existing. You know. So T-Rex ate coconuts. Probably some other, you know, hard shelled creatures too, or objects. Well, we're 90% there. That was close. Yeah, let's be safe. Oh wow, what's happening? Alright. Well, now to 10,000. So maybe talking about T-Rex and coconuts is the strategy here. So, I mean, you'd have to wonder how the T-Rex was able to even get a coconut in his mouth based on the lack of long hands or arms, I guess, not hands. I mean, the T-Rex is not the most flexible of dinosaurs, one would think. But the new thing is paleontologists now believe that the T-Rex actually wasn't like upright, because that's not very, I don't know, aerodynamic or something like that. Wouldn't give him a lot of speed when he's running, chasing, a prey. So I mean, he could maybe, reach the coconut if it fell on the ground, with his mouth, or he could probably, I mean, and they don't directly say this with that theory, but maybe he just ate the whole damn tree, the whole coconut tree. That's what I'd like to think. I would like to think that the T-Rex was a bigger vegetarian than the Brontosaurus, or whatever the actual name is, because I know the Brontosaurus is the fake dinosaur, the hoax. But the legitimate name is actually the one that is not as common as Brontosaurus. But I think we're getting sidetracked here. We need to talk about T-Rex and coconuts. I mean, what else other than a coconut would a T-Rex be eating with such big teeth? You'd have to ask yourself. And I mean, it's not. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, we almost had it. One little fuck up. Well, let's get to 10,000. All right. So anyways, where we left off, what would a T-Rex realistically eat with such big teeth? I mean, coconuts are the obvious first thing, and we've already ruled out that he's vegetarian, not carnivorous. And I guess along with coconuts, we would say, the coconut tree, the palm tree, coconut producing palm tree, however you wanna identify them. I'm not sure what gender those trees identify with, but whatever. So I mean, those are obviously 1 and 2. Number 3. I mean, I would rule out rocks. Because, I mean, even though he's got big teeth, I would assume that, teeth are still bone. And if you were going to be eating rocks, you'd probably want to have more blunt teeth. Or no teeth at all. You would just, swallow the rocks like your mom. But let's see. I mean, who's to say he doesn't eat dirt? I mean, like some construction equipment could have been modeled after the T-Rex, right? So, I mean, I think dirt would be a reasonable number 3 thing that the T-Rex would eat. Shit. I mean, we could also say acorns and whatnot, but those are kind of small. Unless, way back in the day when we had such giant, dinosaurs and other creatures running around, acorns were also equally as big. I just don't think that the T-Rex could sustain himself on acorns alone. I mean, if he was eating dirt and an acorn was there, I'm sure he would eat the acorn as well, so. I mean, that could be, why don't we say dirt and other roughage found on a forest floor. So yeah, that sounds like a reasonable number 3 thing that the T-Rex would eat. What else? What did the T-Rex eat? No. This is kind of like Family Feud, where the first couple are obvious, and then those last few are the tricky ones. You got to ask yourself who those final 5 people out of the 100 actually were. I mean, it's plausible to think that if we are to believe that dinosaurs and humans coexisted in the same time period, if dinosaurs and humans coexisted together, it's possible that, and I'm going to use science against itself on this one, so it's possible that, since science says that the T-Rex and other dinosaurs evolved into birds that we have today because, dinosaurs were full of feathers and, all kinds of shit they don't teach you at the Jurassic Park. it's possible that humans had them as pets, and as such, humans could make salads for the T-Rex. So, you know, I'm going to say at least the pet T-Rexes would eat salads. You know, and I mean, maybe they even, the humans back then, you know, because, I mean, the T-Rex was so big, maybe they just planted, you know, a field of lettuce and let the T-Rex go to town on it, you know. And they would do that, you know, every day. That's how they fed them. They'd just constantly be planting fields of lettuce so the T-Rex would eat it. So we're going to say that's number 4. Fields of lettuce slash salad. So we still need number 5. I mean, we could say, you know, like broccoli and cauliflower, but I mean, those kind of look like trees, like real small trees, so we already got that in number 2. And I mean, leaves would also, whoa, that was close. Leaves would also be counted with trees. And also with number 3, with the roughage found on the forest floor. What else? Number 5. And I mean, we're going with nondescript, as nondescript as we can. So trees, I mean, Google depicts this guy in a desert with cacti. I mean, maybe the T-Rex ate, you know, the tree of choice was cacti. He had such long teeth, so he could better deal with the, you know, the needles on the cactus. You know, they didn't bother him as much because of that. So, like, the T-Rex was the natural predator of cacti. And I mean, that's perfectly plausible, you know. That's, you know, I would even, you know, be willing to argue at a different time and date that a T-Rex population that was out of control, because, you know, they didn't have spaying and neutering back then, so you could just imagine neighborhoods overrun with stray T-Rexes. But I mean, the T-Rex could have been responsible for like the Great Cactus Famine of, you know, 50,000 BC or something like that. You never know, because they, you know, humans were stupid back then. They didn't have writing. For all we know, they didn't have, you know, talking either. I mean, we don't know these things. And I mean, they're stupid enough to have a T-Rex as a pet, right? So, you know. Yeah. I wonder, you know, if Google is kind of like, who was it, DreamWorks or Pixar, where they like meticulously analyze and research like the animals that they CGI to make sure that that's done in a realistic way. I wonder, whoa, that was close. I wonder if Google did the same with this guy, you know, is this actually based on their research, you know, you know, an 8-bit representation of a day in the life of the T-Rex. You know, it's hard to know. It's hard to know because, I mean, there weren't cameras and whatnot back then, so we can't really say that this is incorrect. So who knows? Now, I am going to have to nitpick and say that there were no balloons back then. There are some balloons in the background, so I got to give Google points for points off. I mean, um, for bending the truth a little bit. And I mean, the birthday hat, I think it's just, because of Google or Chrome's birthday, something like that. But I mean, um, that's probably why the balloons are there too. So I guess we can lop them in the same disbelief category. The failure to immerse, oh, the failure to immerse me, the gamer, and you, the audience, into the game properly. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can agree or disagree with me on this one. Any game can be viewed as a role-playing game. Because, I mean, when you're playing a game, you're not playing as yourself, right? You are assuming the identity or role of the character that you're playing. So, in a way, even a game that is nowhere near a role-playing game, let's say Fortnite, just because it has an experience system doesn't mean it's a role-playing game. Lots of games have that now. It's just a way for the developers to get you, invested in it more. So that's not a true experience system. But you're still assuming the role of your character. You're playing as this man or woman that's, fighting for their life on an island that's being taken over or consumed, whatever, by a, hurricane or whatever that would be called. And you're fighting for survival not only against that hurricane, but against everybody else that you see, assuming you're, playing the Battle Royale mode. So, I mean, even a game like Fortnite is going to have role-playing aspects to it. You might not realize it, but that's kind of the sign of a great game developer, when they throw in elements that you don't even realize that you're, biting into, so to speak. Not like a T-Rex would bite into a coconut, keep in mind, but just how you, the player, experiences the immersion of the world. And a lot of people have actually written articles and such about the storytelling aspects of Fortnite. And what an enriching story that they tell without, any lines of dialogue and whatnot. It's all action-based, all visual, very little, if any, text. I don't think there's any text in Fortnite. So it's just, a good example of how a game that has nothing to do with role-playing is actually a role-playing game. And this is no different. I mean, you're the Tyrannosaurus Rex in this one. You're trying to find your way out of this desert so you can have a coconut. You're trying to cross the Sahara Desert to get back to Madagascar so you can find your coconut tree. And I mean, that tale itself is quite riveting, because it's a tale of journey, it's a tale of longing. And all great novels, all great stories, are kind of like these grand expeditions, and that's what this is. So this is nothing less than a great story, just told in a simple way. Um, I don't really know why this is tied to an offline page, by the way. I mean, Steam has greenlit, you know, worse games than this that sell for $10 a pop, you know. I mean, the right person could brand this game as, you know, survival, potentially horror even, sandbox game, in a literal sense, because, I mean, you are in a desert, and you're trying to survive because, you know, you're going so quick. If you know, run into a tree, you're going to get impaled on it, potentially impaled on the bird as well. But I would like to think that the bird eats the dinosaur, eats the T-Rex. That would be my own artistic touch that I would put to this game. Whoops. I really wish I would have gotten 72 less points on my high score. That would be pretty cool. Just putting that out there while I try to think of some more T-Rex facts and speculation. I mean, at this point, I think I've been able to successfully argue that a lot of my speculation, you know, the line has been blurred between speculation and fact. You know, if you're still a non-believer, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that anybody can do for you if you still don't believe in the T-Rex. Did I ever come up with a fifth food group for the T-Rex? Number 1 was coconuts. Number 2 was trees, specifically coconut trees, but I mean, technically, I don't think it matters, although, you know, maybe, now that I think about it, maybe the T-Rex didn't like, you know, oak or Samoa or, you know, palm trees or something like that. Maybe, you know, something interfered with their teeth. Because, I mean, their teeth are made for coconuts, so, you know, who knows what effect wood would have, certain types of wood on those teeth. Number 3 was dirt and other roughage that would be found on, you know, the forest floor. Number 4, what was number 4? I had it, what was it? Well, I know that we eliminated rocks, because those would probably break his teeth. What's number 4? Did I never say number 4? I would say something like bananas, because even though his arms were tiny, he would still be able to peel it. Oh, right, number 4 was salad or lettuce fields planted by humans that had the T-Rex as a pet. Why didn't that jump? Yes, so salad or lettuce fields? Um, I mean, now that I think about it, the humans preparing a salad, for it, that would take, the size of the salad that they'd need to make for him would be pretty damn big. And realistically, I think it would take too much time, especially when, half the tribe is probably planting lettuce fields for the T-Rex to eat. So, yeah. Oh, and just so you know, we did lop in like broccoli, cauliflower, probably asparagus too, with trees because they kind of look like little trees. Or, asparagus looks like tall grass. So, I mean, the dinosaur is not going to be picky with what he is exactly eating. So, we got number 2 should be trees or tree looking like foods. So then that still leaves us with number 5. I don't know if I want to use bananas for number 5. Because bananas, would be a little bit harder for him to deal with, I think. I think his hands or arms are too short to deal with a banana. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, though. I mean, maybe the T-Rex has longer arms, but we've just never found a complete skeleton. Maybe, ancient dogs dug up all the T-Rex bones and, they love the T-Rex forearm. And maybe, they're all gone. I mean that's pretty plausible, I would say, in the realm of what we've already decided. So why don't we say that he did have longer arms, and ancient dogs just dug up the T-Rex bones and ate it. So I'm going to say number 5 is bananas, then. And that kind of covers a lot as far as T-Rex food groups go. I mean, everyone who's not retarded knows that the T-Rex is a vegetarian. So, I mean, we got veggies, we got, bark, we got dirt, and we got fruit. So I think that's everything that vegetarian humans eat. So I think we got it all settled in. I mean, it is possible. I'll say this. It is possible that everything that I said is wrong. But I mean, knowing from the facts, the only fact that we need is the good book. And if dinosaurs existed when humans did, I mean, I hope I don't even have to finish that sentence. So I just thought of something. I'd like to hear Mr. Science here explain this one. But I mean, everybody knows that, everything farts, right? If dinosaurs are so big, how come it got so cold after they went extinct? There was an ice age after, so, they're farting their asses off, letting all that methane into the air. Wouldn't that heat up the world, Mr. Science? Check. Hopefully mate. Not sure if science has, a rook or something that, not a rook, a knight, that's sneaking around someplace to block that one. But I would like to get an explanation for that. I mean, if they say nowadays that cows are contributing to global warming because they're farting their asses off constantly, what about the dinosaurs? I mean, dinosaurs have to be at least 2 or 3 times the size of a cow, right? So, I mean, it would stand to reason that they would be farting 2 to 3 times more than a cow. I mean, a dinosaur, now that I think about it, and my nose is itchy. Well, awesome. A dinosaur is probably like an elephant. So yeah, I would assume an elephant would be farting more than a cow. So I don't think it would be unreasonable to say the same about a dinosaur. So what happened to, global warming back then when the world was freezing? Science. That's what I'd like to know. And here's a little tidbit that I just realized, and that's why I just died that last time. If we're going to go with, Google's accurate representation of dinosaurs and, history in a way through this game, 8-bit history, I guess you could call it. This world looks pretty darn flat to me. And I know a lot of people, like Mr. Shaq himself, Mr. Shaq O'Neal, they get some comments about their belief about the world being flat. Look at this game. You can compare the scale of the dinosaur and the trees, for that matter, the cacti, to how flat the ground is. The only little hills that you see are just like mounds of dirt, maybe even rocks. There's no solid inclines, no hills, drop-offs, cliffs, mountains. There's nothing like that here. So is this Google's way of telling us that the world is actually flat? Stanley Kubrick did something similar with The Shining. I don't know if you've seen the YouTube videos about this one, but he admitted to faking the moon landing in The Shining. You can actually see the set that he used in the background in one of the scenes. And Neil Armstrong makes a cameo in the movie as the guy with the dog head on that's giving the other dude a gay blowjob. That is actually Neil Armstrong. He's uncredited for that role. But it is him he admitted it on his deathbed, that he was in The Shining giving a dude a blowjob. So, I mean, the only blowjob that I've seen in that movie, I mean, there could be something going on in one of the scenes that has, 100 plus extras in it. But that's the only such scene that I've seen. So I would like to believe that that's that. And there's other, so-called evidence, like Danny wearing a shirt with the Apollo spaceship on it, which seems out of place for that movie. And then I don't remember what else, but there is, better evidence than what I said, but I mean, Neil Armstrong, in it that's a big. Because you may not know this, a little known fact, but he was still alive when that movie came out. Neil Armstrong, I don't think, died until the 90s or 2000s, something like that. Not from supposed complications of moon dust or anything like that. Just like old age. That's all. But yeah, that would be, that would be like this. Imagine Stanley Kubrick was the game director here, and he wanted to tell all the flat earthers out there that have such a bad name that it's okay. Don't worry. People like me got your back. And there's a bit of romanticism involved in that too, if you let your mind wander a little bit on that thought. That art and artists are able to convey such complex ideas to people, and to a target audience, and to people outside of that target audience, they have no idea what's actually going on in the background. It's almost like subliminal messaging in a way. But the target audience is kind of already in on the message, in on the subliminal message. So there's that part of it. And I guess since we're on The Shining, I saw some other YouTube videos about The Shining that blew my mind, because the layout of The Shining is impossible. One of the easiest pieces to point out, there's a couple of real easy ones, but the easiest one would be in that Stuart Ullman's office. He's got windows showing the outside, a bright sunny day, and his office is an interior office. You can clearly see that in a couple scenes of the movie. So those windows can't be there unless he has some kind of, special window chimney thing going on. Another one would be actually the Torrance's bedroom. There. Torrance's bedroom, or more specifically, not necessarily the bedroom, but the exit sign, the emergency exit sign located next to their bedroom. So there is an emergency exit sign, maybe like 10 feet beyond, beyond the Torrance's bedroom. And if you were to actually map that area out, map that hallway out, that emergency exit sign is going to go straight into into the guest suite that they're living in. And another thing, because of the layout of the guest suite, which we see when Wendy and Danny are in the bathroom trying to escape from Jack, the bathroom window takes them, when they escape from it, or when Danny does at least, that's the front of the hotel. So the emergency exit would be going straight into their bedroom, not outside. And because we know, the way that their room is, the room is runs parallel to the hallway, of course, and we can see that that's a long hallway. The window should not be there. It couldn't be there. It couldn't be orientated that way, because there should be another room that bathroom goes into, not the outside. So, there's just a lot of elements like that in the Shining movie that can be correlated into this game. It's funny to think about that. And, the U.S. involvement that could have been going on in the Shining movie. And then consequently, what was the U.S. doing with this game? Now there's a theory that somebody's got to take a look at. Like, who really made this game and why? That's what I'd like to know. Because, we all know that, Google and every, big company in the U.S., not just the telecoms, but any big company, they got, lobbyists, aka bribers in Washington, D.C. involved in local politics, too. Google was quite happy when net neutrality was, voided, killed, I guess you could say. So, what else would Google be involved in? We know Google made this game. They had to put it in their browser, but who was actually involved? That's what I'm getting at. And we don't know. We don't know. Russians have been allegedly hacking U.S. elections, and probably U.S. credit cards, because the U.S. credit card system is like 40 fucking years old, maybe even more. And they don't want to update it because, it's easier for them to deal with identity theft for their customers than to upgrade their fucking system. But what other such reasoning could go into making this game? I think you'd be a fool if you just accepted that this game was just a game, you know. Everything nowadays is more than what it seems. I mean, even the Chrome browser, I mean, that tracks everything that you do and sends it to Google because that's how Google makes money. They make money uh, by analyzing data of their users, all the trends that they do and whatnot. You know, that's why with a service like Gmail, you actually don't own your own emails, if you didn't know that. All your emails are owned by Google. Uh, and Google just gives you access to the email account, to the storage space. But it's actually, everything is owned by them. And the same is true for files on Google Drive. If this caused a big kerfuffle a few years ago when they actually explicitly added into their terms of service for Google Drive that all files stored on there are the property of Google. So a lot of people that had, you know, coding repositories and whatnot, backups, being synced with Google Drive, you know, kind of went up in arms about that. And I don't believe Google changed it. I think Google just clarified that the property, the intellectual property is still yours, but the actual files are what's theirs. It was something really weird like that. I actually use Google Drive to back up things because it's stuff that I don't really give a shit about in the first place. Although, if my wife is watching, I do care about our wedding photos and that sort of shit. Excuse me, crap. Um, but I don't know. If Google wants to claim to be the guy in the photos, I mean, let them. You know, unless it's something to do with a court case, you know, I don't need alibis and evidence that I was at a location at a certain time and date. I mean, my wife and I have a good and trusting relationship, and I wouldn't at least intentionally do anything to besmirch that trust of hers, and I would hope she would say the same about me. I know she would, but I'm just putting that qualifier out there just in case she has a wild side I don't know about. Well, yeah, I mean, we have a good relationship, and I don't think Google owning our wedding photos is going to change anything about that. Maybe it would, but I don't think it would. We've been married for 7 years now, so I don't think something like that's going to have an impact on us. I mean, maybe it would to some degree. But I don't know. We'd have to cross that bridge if we ever got there. I don't think we ever would get there because we wouldn't need to. Not because it would be something that we wanted to avoid, but I don't think our relationship roads are intersecting with, you know, Google problems anytime soon. That's my guess on that. And only time will tell if I'm right or wrong. who knows? I don't think anybody wants to be wrong about anything that they do. You know, even like obvious stuff, like I don't think Hitler was, having sleepless nights thinking about all the people that he was killing. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he did. Who knows? Gotta get serious for a sec. Alright, we beat the record. Our record, at least. That kind of makes me wonder, what is the highest high score in this game? Did somebody actually, max out the 5 digits, 99999? Or does a 6-digit appear? What then? I mean, somebody probably could hack the game a little bit to start out at, 99,990. Just see what the game does then. But yeah, who knows? Serious time. All right. So now that we broke 10,000, we don't give a shit about our score anymore because we hit that milestone. What was I talking about before? Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff to talk about. I hit jump. I hit jump. You didn't jump. That's how we have to end it. I hit jump, and you didn't jump. Well, this is interesting. This is quite interesting. What do I do here? I have an idea. I don't know what this is going to do. Okay. Keep. What is this going to do? We're going to bring it back to this window. Awesome. How can I do this? Can I like drag it over here? Anything like that? Well, now this is quite a unique problem that I have never experienced before as a computer person. How do I get that back? How do I get my window back? So OBS just decided to change monitors. Okay? Now normally that wouldn't be a problem. However, I only have one monitor. Can we maximize? There we go. maximize through the toolbar, task manager. There we go. So now I can actually end the stream on a proper note. And that note is to, for kids out there, to